Hey family, it's Tasha, MAMABEAR Prepping. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. We just talk about emergency preparedness. We talk about different things on this channel to get ready for different crisis events that might come your way. Really, we just talk about what me and my family do, and hopefully that helps you pop off your own spark of interest towards self-sufficiency and getting ready for an emergency. So today, I'm bringing you guys a list. I'm bringing you a list of stuff to hoard, stuff to keep, stuff to stockpile. I actually just saw somebody do a list of this. I've done several videos of this in the past of, hey, different things to hoard, to get, to stockpile. And so this is no different. We're going to get right into it, and I'm going to tell you my list, okay? So this is the MAMABEAR prepping list, must have. I have 20 things for you guys today. So first thing is ammo. Must have ammo, gotta have ammo. It's super, super important because if a catastrophic event happens, it's gonna be total chaos in the streets. It's gonna be heartbreaking, lots and lots of different types of violence, and just your ability to be able to protect your home. You're gonna go through ammo, you're going to need it, okay? Next thing I have is seeds, your ability to grow food, to produce something for yourself. Even if you get ravaged, people come through, raiders, whatever, they clean you out. At some point you have seeds. You can start seeds inside. You can do microgreens inside. And just later on when you're trying to establish your garden again, you've already got seeds and you've stockpiled those and have those ready to go. Next thing is fuels. Any type of fuels for little cook stoves, little cook burners, fuel for, this could be fuel for different things, for flashlights, for lanterns, lantern fuel. This could be propane, butane, lamp oil. This could be just a multitude of things that you would use to fuel an item that you need. I always say even flashlights, lanterns, that batteries are a type of fuel. Obviously, it's not a liquid fuel, you guys, but in my mindset, I always say I think of batteries when I think about my fuel products as well. Next thing I have is, we actually talked about this the other day, and that is salt. Super important to maintain and have that still in your diet. You're possibly going to be eating very bland stuff, very just not good stuff, and salt is going to be amazing. Plus, it's an amazing bartering item. Next thing I have is liquor. Now, obviously, this can be for people that drink and do not drink. So obviously, this is for you to have a little bit of a beverage, something to drink, something to take the edge off, just relax. But also, this is for medicinal purposes, medical reasons. This is for preserving food. I mean, this is for holistic reasons. There's just a ton of reasons why liquor is important to have that in your stockpile. Next thing I have is proteins, any kind of proteins. A very, very good protein way to stack protein, in my opinion, is protein powder. Obviously, there's a ton of different protein, different meats, different ways to stack meat, different ways to stack beans and other proteins. But protein, think protein, stockpile it. You've got to have it. You've got to be able to continue to have it. And it's filling, right? Next thing I have is medicine. Super important. We talk about food, water, meds all the time. Medicine is going to be an issue, especially if we go to any kind of conflict with certain people. That is going to affect our medical supplies, medicine deeply. Okay, so you've got to get medicines, especially if you have life-saving medicines. You have something that's a little bit more serious. You need to have a stockpile as much as you can. Obviously, if an event is a long-term event, it's going to last longer than 3 months, you've got to figure out what you're going to do. Fallbacks, I get it. If at the end of the day, it is what it is. If there's not an alternative, because you have to have that or you die, it is what it is. But you need to try your best to have the longest amount of supplies possible for that medicine. And then start doing the research now for alternatives, even stuff that will help your ailment in any way, right? Any symptom of the ailment, anything that will put that at ease, help it, whatever the case may be, okay? We won't go too much down the rabbit hole on that one. Next one I have is books, wealth of information, right? If we get somewhere we don't have, we've been attacked on whatever, an EMP, nuclear, it doesn't matter, but something that is significant and takes down the internet and you have no ability to research anymore, to just find the answer. Books is where you're going to get that. Manuals, different literature that's going to be able to tell you how to do something, where you're going to get your answers from. So this is cooking books, this is gardening books, this is how to build books, project books. This is, you name it, medical books, medicine books, holistic books, just books, super important. It's important to have fictional books too, entertainment type reading books as well for entertainment. But so books I cannot stress how important that is. History books, important, okay? Next thing I have on my list is coffee. Now, obviously, I know that there's some folks that don't drink coffee, so whatever is your go-to thing in the morning, maybe it's a cup of tea, maybe it's something that else that you drink, or that is kind of your go-to, lift you up, start your day. Prep that, okay? Get that item and prep it and make sure that you've stockpiled it. But for a lot of people, a lot of Americans, a lot of people outside of America, coffee is something that is a pick-me-up. And something they want to do. I actually had somebody leave me a snotty little comment the other day about, yeah, I just found you. Do you start every single video with, sipping your coffee or slurping your coffee? Something along those lines. And I was like, yes, ma'am, it is. I can't believe that that's the comment you want to leave, but yes, it is. That's how I started slurping my coffee. There's the door. So coffee, super important, makes you feel good, need to stockpile it, and a huge, again, a lot of this stuff is very, very good, bartering items as well. Obviously I'm not a fan of just buying stuff that's just, I don't use, but I'm like, oh, I'm going to use this for bartering, and I've just used money on something like cigarettes, for example. I'm not stockpiling cigarettes. We don't smoke cigarettes, but, but I know that it's 100% fantastic bartering item. So I'm not bartering stuff unless it's something that I use. I'm not stockpiling bartering stuff unless it's something I use. Just common sense, a lot of stuff can be used as a bartering item because just as important it is to us, it's important to a lot of other people. Next thing I have is carbs. So really, I mean rice. Any kind of carb you can stockpile. We stockpile a lot of potatoes as well. And fine-tuning that, learning how you can grow different carbs. But carbs, rice, something that's going to be filling on bellies, get you fed. You don't even need a lot, and you can feel full. Obviously, you need some other aspects to that, but super important to make sure that you're getting carbs and stockpiling them. Next thing I have is baby wipes. With this list, I started to think about the things that I'd want if I was in the field. Now, there's certain gear that I would want if I was in the field, but there's certain everyday pleasure, quality of life things that you would want. Baby wipes is one of those things. I could have said toilet paper, okay, could be on the list as well. But baby wipes are amazing because baby wipes are going to get done whatever the thing is, right? You can drip dry if you're a lady or a man, right? But just a nice little wet wipe is nice to know that you've cleaned up, because hygiene is going to be important, and it's going to be difficult at times to do that. And, a baby wipe is going to get a lot more off and done with just one swipe as far, if you're saying toilet paper, right? A dry toilet paper, out in the field, you're already uncomfortable, maybe trying to take a squat and not get messy and all this stuff. It's just baby wipes amazing. Plus, I like baby wipes because you're using them for other things, to wash your face, to do your hands. There's other aspects that you can use these baby wipes for. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of baby wipes, or any kind of wipes, right? Like that. Next thing I have is water. So again, water, food, meds all the time. Somebody asked the other day, oh, this is so overwhelming. You got EMP, you got war, you got all this stuff to worry about. How do you prep? What is the important stuff you need to concentrate on? And I'm like, baby, number one thing, if you're new to prepping and you're watching this, you just found my channel, food, water, meds, water, food, meds. That is the things that you concentrate on. Those three things. You get your food supplies up, you get your water supplies up, you get your medicine supplies up. You get those items up, and then you can concentrate on the other things. And, when you talk about, okay, what's next? What do you concentrate on? I tell people it's grid down. That's what you're preparing for next. You start getting the things that you need to make your quality of life, and your everyday things that you're doing in your life, able to still be done in a grid down situation, in a situation with no power. And so that's where you start. So of course, water made the list. A lot of people, I got a well, I got, I've got this, I've got that, and they don't stockpile water. I'm a firm believer that it is super important for you to stockpile water and have a bottled water form in your house. Whether you bought a container and filled it with water and treated it and put it in a corner somewhere, or if you are buying water in containers. Now, a lot of people, oh, the plastic. Yes, I get it. Over time, like years and years and years, okay? You can rotate that though. You can buy cases and cases of water and just be rotating that in your regular rotation, and that water is going to get drank. I just cannot stress, because there's a lot of very, very serious situations that could mess up your water on the outside. Your water gets compromised. You have grid down. Maybe people that have wells and don't have the ability to get the water out of the well if the power goes down. That's a thing, right? And so people think they're invincible sometimes when they have certain things. And on this channel, we teach repetitive. We teach you have to have lots of options. Give yourself options. Give yourself the ability to adapt when something goes wrong. When an aspect is compromised or something happens, you don't panic and freak out because you've thought you have other options through. Okay. And so having water stockpiled in your home is extremely, extremely important. Okay. So please don't sleep on that. Yes. Get all the ways that you can get water, right? Rain catchment, a cistern, maybe you bring in water, maybe you have wells, maybe you have a creek, maybe you have a pond, maybe you have running water and you have filters, maybe you have, but you need to have the containers as well. Bring in containers, fill them up, and have them stockpiled. Buy water from the store and stockpile it. I cannot stress water enough. Water, you're done for. If you start, even within 24 hours of no water, your body is immediately starting to shut down pieces inside of you. It's starting to already be like, what's going on? And it's starting to go in the negative direction. By day 3, if you make it that far, it's bad. It's a bad. You're not moving. You're not doing anything. You are in pain. And from there, it just goes on and on, okay, until you finally die. Next thing I have, moving on, is blankets. We think about nuclear winter. You think about if you're in a cold area, again, no power, no heat, none of that stuff. Obviously, you give yourself options of different ways to heat yourself in that situation, but blankets are huge. Do not sleep on a good wool blanket, baby. I mean, imagine, the people on Naked and Afraid, would probably take a wool blanket in a heartbeat. Some of those locations, it's just so cold. They're shivering, they're dying. A blanket is huge for sleeping out in the elements, for the cold, for even a cover. In your house, you can't have enough, putting it over windows, putting it over obviously bodies, children, trying to keep people warm. Do not sleep on it. Stockpile your blankets. I've never thrown a blanket away. Don't throw away any blankets. It can be torn and ripped and it just whatever, but you wash that thing up, you vac seal it, put it up for a rainy day. That thing has a purpose someday, okay? For, covering a window or padding something, right? Just being padding under something. Super important. And that could be for all types of stuff. Your animals, you never know when you're going to need that blanket. So blankets. Look into wool blankets. Go to your thrift stores. Go to garage sales, wherever. Get blankets, get comforters. People get rid of that stuff all the time, okay? And there's nothing wrong with it. They're just upgrading it because they want, a different color, color scheme in their room or whatever, okay? So go to your Goodwills. Go to that place. Get that stuff, okay? Next thing I have is lighters. Really, this is any kind of fire starting material, any kind of, matches, flint, any of that stuff, right? But a good lighter, always have a lighter on you. You never know when you're going to need a lighter. Light something up, you got to have a lighter. Super important to stay warm, to maybe light a fire, to cook something, for light, whatever. Lighters, super important. Don't sleep on them. Next thing I have is socks and underwear. Again, very small item, everyday item, doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but socks are super important. Your feet are going to be crucial. There's certain parts of your body that you're going to want to keep super clean. That's your lady bitch, your men pet parts, your feet, that you want to keep nice and clean and dry and as healthy as possible. And socks are a huge aspect of that, of your ability to keep your feet healthy, okay? And as we know, socks disappear, socks get holes, all types of stuff. You've got to have socks. Maybe there's a situation where you need to double up on socks, but socks are huge. Again, everything on this list can be bartered. And then of course, underwear, right? Maybe you're not doing as much laundry, maybe whatever, you're on the move, whatever, but underwear. Don't sleep on that. Again, that's an area that you want to keep as clean as possible. Even out in the field, that's something, I don't care. Like, you couldn't bring that much stuff, but I bet you brought plenty of underwear to take us past. We would bring enough underwear past the amount of time we were supposed to be out there, so that if we got extended for some reason, something happened, you best believe we was going to have fresh underwear, though. We was going to be miserable in all other aspects, but we were going to have fresh underwear, okay? So you weren't getting caught with your pants down, so to speak, right? Just very important. It's a quality of life thing. It's a health thing, and it's important, okay? So extra socks and underwear. And if you have little kids, think about the future. Think about them growing, because they're growing. So you want to be thinking about, hey, I've got extra socks, not so much the socks, but extra underwear as they grow and get bigger, okay? And that's with anything, shoes, clothes, whatever. Next thing I have is bread ingredients. Now, you might be like, that's kind of an odd one for this list, but no, baby. I mean, we joke all the time that, listen, if our family had rice, had some chickens that were laying eggs, so we had eggs coming out our ears, we had rice, and we had eggs, and we had stuff to make bread every day. We're golden. We're golden. If you didn't have food, but you had stuff to make bread every day, that's filling. That's amazing. You know, it's awesome, right? Can you live on bread? You know, obviously there's a lot of complications with just if that's the only thing your diet is, but that's a huge piece of keeping a full belly, and being able to continue to do the tasks at hand, the things you have to do, the chores, the things that still have to be done, the patrolling possibly of your own land. Bread is important. It doesn't take that many ingredients, a lot of recipes. And so stockpile the ingredients for that. Stockpile your flours, your yeast. There's recipes that don't need that, but stockpile all this stuff for the bread. Whatever's your guys' favorite bread. First of all, if you don't know how to make bread, learn how to make bread. Try to learn how to make bread over an open fire, on a wood stove, right? That's the key. That's the real magic. But obviously start in your kitchen and learn how to make bread in your own oven, right? From scratch. Figure out what recipes you like, which ingredients. There's a lot that have less ingredients, and there's a lot of breads recipes that take other substitute items, right? So figure that out. Figure out what you're gonna need, and make sure that you're stockpiling your bread ingredients. It's a must. Next thing I have is vitamins. So mentioned medicines already, but vitamins, super important because of our diets, because you will not be eating possibly getting certain nutrients. You're not going to be getting certain things in your body that your body's used to be getting right now in your meal. And so a lot of people are going to be depleted. A lot of people are going to be weak at the minute that they don't have that certain nutrients going into their body, and their bodies are going to start to break down. Even the people that are eating bad, and you're like, oh, well, they're not taking their vitamins now, but they're still eating stuff that has a certain level of, and they're getting those certain vitamins up. And yes, maybe they're weak in a lot of areas right now, but imagine they're going to be even weaker. Okay, so vitamins, again, huge bartering, super important, make all the difference. Next thing I have on here is pet food. I think that this is huge. This is an area that people forget. Sometimes people prep in this area, but they don't prep as ferociously as they would themselves, right? Obviously, if money's an issue, right, then money's an issue. But do not forget the pets. Make sure that you're stockpiling. Think about them. It's very easy if you have any kind of budget, really, to stockpile and stockpile fast for them and get them, you know, a year's worth of food. Obviously, canned food is going to last longer than bag food. Bag food, you can't just buy a year's worth and just have it. You have a good chance of that going rancid because your dog or cat is not eating that fast enough. So we like to keep about 6 months worth of dry cat or dog food, and then the rest is we just stockpile the cases of canned dog food and cat food. Obviously, there's holistic options, or like homemade options that you can do, stuff you can put in your freezer, make and put in your freezer. Obviously, if it's grid down, but there's stuff that you can make and then pressure can and preserve it in that way and make it shelf stable. So there's a lot of different options to do, but you've got to do it. There's a lot of people with animals, absolutely love their animals. Maybe you have a couple months worth of food and think that's enough, and it's not enough. You need to have a long-term solution for your animals. If anything, think about long-term, how you're going to continue to feed them when all the things are gone. When you're out of the dog food, you're out of the, how do you continue to feed them? What is the game plan? Okay, and that's for livestock, that's for pets, but stockpile. And I said pet food, but this could be livestock food as well. If you have any other animals, you have chickens, you have ducks, you have goats, pigs, whatever it is that you have, make sure that you have all the extra stuff for them, and you're stockpiling their food aggressively, ferociously. You are stockpiling them for them just as much as you are for yourself. Because if you're not, what's your plan then? To kill them and eat them? Is their name's going to be dog food? Like, you've got to think this through and figure out what you're going to do for your animals. And it's got to be long-term. When I say long-term, you should be thinking at a minimum a year. At a minimum a year. And that's not super difficult to do. If you say, cat food, for example. A case of cat food, let's say it has 30 little cans of food and your cat eats the 1 can a day, right? That's a month's worth in that one little case, right? And you just do that. You get 12 of those little cases, boom, you've got a year, okay? So think that through. Or maybe you've got the 6 months of dry and you only need the 6 boxes because that's the wet. Whatever it is, figure it out. You know your situation better than I do, and get that stockpiled, okay? Next thing is medical supplies. Obviously, wound care. Obviously different things for colds and headaches and all your everyday aches and pains. That's actually medicine. See how I just switched it up because I think about them all the same. Wound care, your Band-Aids, your creams, your wound treatment type stuff, okay? If you get hurt, somebody breaks a bone, somebody whatever, the ways to monitor people, checking blood pressure, checking all those things. You need all the supplies. So I've said this many, many times on many other videos, the importance of building your own pharmacy, your own, mini hospital, if you will, with all your items that you need to be able to go through an event, okay? And if things are popping off, this is a wild, wild west, and you're just trying to protect your home, there's a good chance that you guys are going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt just running around. Maybe you don't get hit by a round, a bullet, but you're getting scraped up, cut up, because you're running all around trying to do stuff, jumping over stuff, trying to get around, and you get hurt. Your body gets bruised and hurt and cut up and all of this stuff. Or maybe it's something else. You get into a physical fight with somebody, with a knife or whatever. People are going to get hurt, okay? And so you need to have wound care and medicine and all this stuff. I have a link in the description box below. Bear Independent has the Refuge Medical Company. Excellent stuff over there, tourniquets, all types of little kits that you can get for different various things, for your car, for hiking, for wherever, okay? All types of really, really nice IFAKs that he has built over there on his company. Amazing. Check out the link. Use the code below so that you can get your little code when you're checking out. But just amazing, amazing gear. If you haven't been over there, check out the link. And then the very, very last thing I had is, we kind of already talked a little bit about this at the beginning. We started with ammo. We're going to end with weapons. Weapons, absolutely important. Need to have non-lethal, lethal weapons against animals, weapons against people, weapons for mass, I don't want to say mass destruction, but for taking down masses, for handling a group of people. Marauders, a group of raiders. How do you handle that? You need to have certain weapons for that. I'm just keeping it 100. All the weapons they don't want us to have, you need those weapons for certain situations. You absolutely do, okay? And so, folks will be like, you don't need that in the end days, in the days of chaos, in the days of you having to fight off, a group of raiders that's trying to come and pillage and burn your house down and take everything out of it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, you do. Okay. So get your weapons. This could be knives. This could be all types of stuff. Okay. But get that. Think about that area and cover down on it. Okay. Do not forget about it, and do not think that it's an area that doesn't need to be covered. If you are not into that, you're not into specifically some two-way stuff, you need to think of some non-lethal stuff. You need to think of some stuff that will stop somebody, that will make somebody double think coming through the door, whatever it is. Okay. You need to get that stuff. All right. There's a lot of good stuff on the market, air rifles, all types of stuff that will hurt somebody, and possibly make somebody change their mind. But at the end of the day, you've got to have the ability to figure out how you're going to deal with a group of people, a group of bad people coming your way. Okay. So I digress. That was like I could do a whole other video just on that. But anyway, I hope you guys are well. It's Tuesday. I hope your guys' week is going good so far. And I'll just see you guys on the next video. I hope you enjoyed the list. Take care. Bye.